Hello, everybody. Here is, I guess, my Balisong breakdown of the Channel Reaper V2 by Black Balisong. It is a version 2 of an already existing knife, of which there are already two versions. The Channel Reaper. There's also the Sandwich Reaper, which I think is maybe the default. I've never flipped the Sandwich Reaper, only this Channel Reaper. And so while I've covered some of these things in my unboxing video, I'm going to be repeating some things. And I guess just saying my thoughts. So here they are. The biggest difference between the two are that the V2 has this sort of wavy pattern on its grip, which is different from the V1. Let's see. So the V1 has like a sort of a diagonal kind of ridges throughout. The blades, as you can see, are different shape, and the blade steel of the V1, at least for mine, is S35VN, and this one is M390. From what I've been told, S35VN maybe maintains its like its shape and its hardness maybe a little bit better, but M390 can get real fucking sharp. And I mean really fucking sharp. I botched a shortstop and oh my god, there was so much blood. Um let's see. And another noticeable difference between these two is that this one is more neutral. The V2 is more neutral than the V1. It weighs about, I think, zero point 0.1 ounce less. So, you know, it's a little bit noticeable. Um, and the last thing I noticed, and this one I didn't notice until later, is that the V1 has these grooves down here. But what the V2 has are these, like, vertical diagonal parts up here. It's, let's see, come on, focus. So you see these sort of ridges that poke out in this groove area here. These these vertical ridges don't exist on the V1, and I'm not sure why he added them because I cannot imagine it to be less work. And it's also pointy. It's not like something that you're gonna be touching super often, but once I notice it, I'm like, why is this here? Because it's not comfortable. It's pointy and it doesn't really add anything to it. So to me, I just think it's rather unnecessary. The V1 is still a little handle biased. It's very, or sorry, the V2 is still very slightly handle biased. You can notice it when you fan that it's a little handle bias, but it does flip pretty well. And I noticed I've been like sort of trying to check to see if other knives feel a little different when they fan on one handle versus the other handle. But I think it flips slightly more. I don't know. That this might be psychology now. I'm kind of rolling this back. So these Channel Reapers, they cost about $3.95, which I think for the quality that you are getting it's very nice. It's a titanium Balisong for sub 400. It's a live blade too, and for sub 400, you have like the NRB Slight is 400 flat for a non-blemished version. I believe the Slight, the machine wise, the Slift T. Golly gee, those names are confusing. Yeah, the NRB Slight is 400 flat. The Slift T is, I think, a sub 400. The Medusa is 350 for a trainer and maybe 400-ish for a live blade. So relatively speaking, this is a really good deal. Now, one of my critiques about, or before I get to the critique, I also just always want to point out Black Balisong has a bite indicator on the horn of all of their blades. I don't know why other Balisong makers haven't taken this idea, but it's brilliant and it's simple and it's easy and it's just like, oh, which side is the bite side? I know immediately because I see the pointy teeth on the horn. Anyways, as for critiques, I find that the hardware is always somewhat annoying. The hardware is T8 for pivots and I believe T6 for the Zen pin screws. Yes, T6 for the Zen pin screws. I find that these screws, they slip pretty easily, and I'm always really scared of stripping them. They're never very deep, and they just, I don't know. I really hate T8 and T6. I personally would rather just everything be T10. Machine wise, I started going to T15, which I support. Um, yeah, I think the hardware leaves something to be desired. But frankly, I feel that way about many Balisongs. Like I was trying to break down this LDY turbid, and it was giving me trouble because I can't fucking take the pivot screws out. It's slipping, but it's not so stripped. Anyways, a lot of hardware leaves something to be desired. My EX11s, those are like ballpark $700 to $1,000 for a live blade, $450 for a trainer. I don't know why it's such a drastic difference, but point is, the screw stripped from my live blade, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I sent it to Jeff Dumas. I sent it to Jeff, and he was willing to extract it and change the blades, and so I'm very appreciative of it. So great customer service from Jeff's part. I just was not crazy about the hardware. So this is not a thing that is exclusive to Black Balisong, but it is something that I have some thoughts on. A lot of knives have hardware that leave me kind of worried. And so I can't really tighten it. This is a pass around, so like it's obviously going to be an amount of like beat, and it's going to have an amount of play and stuff like that. So obviously take that with a grain of salt. I will also say I just think the V1 blade looks cooler. I think this V1 blade, like mine is like a stone texture blade, but even without the stone texture, I just think that the design is really nice with like these sort of ridges, like this sort of grind here. Um, and this like tiny harpoon element to it. This is like they're both tantos. This one has like a diagonal cutout here, which does make it stand out from other tantos. Um, but I don't know. I'm just not that crazy about it. As for the blade steel, I don't care. I know some people have emotions and feelings about various blade steels. I don't care. I think it's fine. Um, I want to say it's 6AL titanium, but you know what? Actually, I have the QC card. Let me double check that. Grade 5 titanium. So yeah, that's pretty standard. Um, and yeah, this is number 10. It is not serialized on the blade. But it does say it's number 10 V2 Channel Reaper on the QC card. QC card. Oh my god, I'm just tripping over all my words. Now, is this worth the money? I would say yes. I think $395 for this quality is actually relatively extremely affordable because most titanium live blades are north of 500. There are very few that are less than 500, and I listed most of them. It was mostly the Medusa, maybe the Impusa, the Slight, and the Slifty. And I'm sure that there are other ones that are live blades that are about that price. But um, these are titanium. They're solid channel titanium. I believe the Rebola is also titanium, and that one is even cheaper. But it does have G10 scales. The Rebola has a really beautiful blade. I think the handles are just okay in terms of comfortableness. Like they're fine. I think the Rebola is an incredibly good priced knife. So as for if you have a V1 Reaper, do you need a V2 Reaper? Do you need to replace them? I don't think so. I cannot say that one is objectively better than the other. Certainly not with like a bunch of asterisks. I think there are some things that you can say that are objectively like good. Tolerances, tuning, material of like the quality of materials. I don't care about aluminum versus titanium. I don't care about a lot of other things. Um, the blade steel 390 versus S35VN, I don't know, it's fine. I don't think this is a kind of blade steel that can rust. I know that some are made with like tool steel, like D2 steel, I think can rust. I don't know about 390. But like the grip is a little bit more comfortable, I guess. I think the grip is a little bit more comfortable. Um, the grip on the V1 is like a little coarse on my sensitive hands, but I don't know. I have since felt coarser like on the Matrix OSP with texture on the handles, and I kind of like maybe my skin's gotten tougher for the V1. Um, and they both ring. They both have quite a nice ring. If you don't like ring, unfortunately, this Balisong does ring. Um, or if you like me, yay, it rings. That's so pretty sounding. So as for the handle bias versus the slightly more neutral, that's a preference thing. I cannot say one is objectively better than the other. My V1 is more handle bias. I prefer more neutral. I like the blade design of the V1 more. I like the grip and the texture of the V2 more. I don't like the pointy bit down here. Why the pointy bits? I don't know. I think that can honestly go away. It was never on the V1, and it's like uh, maybe two different types of milling. There's like one milling and then another one that goes deeper. But frankly, having this diagonal one, I am not convinced is cheaper. In fact, I'm guessing it's more expensive, so that can go away. Um, and yeah, I personally, while I do think I'm going to be honest and say that I'm not the most blown away ever. I think these are really good knives. I think they are really good for their price. Um, and I do want Black Balisong to succeed, and I know that he's been having a hard year financially lately, and so I'm very excited that I have paid for a V2 Dama Sholo. That's the XOLO. It looks like Zolo, but apparently it's pronounced Sholo. Um, which I am very excited to get. But that's probably not going to be until January because he updated the blade design, and I paid, I'm getting a Damascus one because I paid for it on a sale. And then the Dama blades came out with the older pattern, which look, in my opinion, a little dorky. The V1 pattern looks cool, but then he did a 2.1 redesign for the Sholo blades, and they look way cooler. Which I can talk about later. And so my Dama blades, like he's doing it for like the the non-Dama versions, you can get. But I'm gonna be waiting till January for that or something like that. As for the performance of this knife, it's pretty solid. There's nothing crazy. I am scared to flip this more, especially doing tricks that I'm not like going to 100% land and not cut myself. AKA, my finger still very much hurts. So I think the V2 Channel Reaper performs quite nicely for like fans and palm fans, and it still has the momentum for rollovers. As far as I could tell, it aerials pretty consistently. However, of course, because it is not as handle biased, the rollovers feel a little bit more rollovery on the V1. But that's like honestly, it's pretty slight. Like you can just do helixes for days. But like the V2, like I still feel like I can do helixes for days, albeit like maybe fewer days. That's a weird way of saying it. Golly gee willikers, and this every time I flip this knife, I need a new band-aid. Anyways, that's my basic breakdown of the Black Balisong Channel Reaper version 2. If you like Black Balisong knives, it's kind of what you'd expect. It doesn't really do anything I didn't expect. If this was my own knife, I would have sanded down the blade oh so slightly. Oh my god, if you need an EDC knife, this is a sharp motherfucker. Fuck. Anyways, Channel Reaper is a good knife. V2, slightly more neutral than the V1. Blade seal is different. If you care about that, it's good to know. Texture is a little bit more comfortable, arguably a little grippier, but it's titanium, so it wasn't really an issue. And yeah, it's got the same kind of pros and cons as most other Black Balisong knives. And so yeah, I think also I haven't confirmed this, but to my knowledge, it seems that most of the blades are compatible with other handles. And I know that a lot of people talk about machine-wise being like the Marin platform is really cool. It is really cool. I just want to also say that, to my knowledge, Black Balisong also is a pretty consistent thing because I've seen Rabola blades on Reaper handles, and I believe Reaper blades on Rabola handles, and there are Depurge, of course, the Depurge handles and Depurge blades. I've seen them on each other, and I believe that the Sholo 2 is being designed so that it is compatible with other of Black Balisong's handles as well. So if you like that interchangeability and the compatibility of things, just be aware that there are other makers that do that because not to say negative things about Machine Wise, they're excellent. They make really really good knives and they are really highly regarded for a reason. But Black Balisong makes some very affordable titanium live blades that are also with interchangeable blades, to my knowledge. I'll have to double check that, I guess. And I just want other people to like acknowledge and appreciate Black Balisong, uh, because I see that he's like having a little bit of a hard time, and he deserves to succeed. He makes good knives, and while I will say that I'm not like the most blown away ever by the uh, Reaper V2, it is still a good knife, and it's like for the price range, I think it's really solid. I'm also holding my hand like this because it's bloody. Um, it's a really solid knife for the price, and I think it stacks up against that price bracket pretty well. So yeah, Viva Mexico. If you like these videos, check out my coffee in the description. It helps me make this. It helps me make these videos, keeps these channels alive, and also like it's like $3 for a single coffee donation, and shipping this to the next destination is like $10.20. And so, yeah, it literally just helps me a little bit, and it might seem insignificant, but it does go a long way. And I'm, again, very thankful to Black Balisong and Dirty D for letting me be a part of this pass round. Very honored, and I'm happy to say that's a really cool knife. So with that, like, comment, and subscribe. I have a video reviewing the Rebola and the Channel Reaper V1, and also an unboxing for those as well as this one too. So take care, and I hope you all have a lovely day flipping, and hopefully with fewer bites. Oh my god, how am I gonna stop this video with a bloody hand?